In this video, I'd like to explain the idea of the higher expressions of ourself. It's going to be hard to explain in words, but as we shift to higher conscious levels, it's easier for us to understand some of these ideas. The reason why I'm explaining this is because I've gone through extensive hypnosis and I remember everything about creation. Basically, when you take a look at the higher expressions of ourselves, doing past life regression with hypnosis, what we find out is that we've basically living thousands of lifetimes simultaneously, and endless alternate realities of those lifetimes and all those events. But also, it's really we're living endless lifetimes and endless universes and endless alternate realities and everything about all the experiences. So basically, when you look at the higher expressions of ourselves, it's really like a big soup, and you're always stirring, always churning, and it's always creating. And everyone else who's experiencing everything, they're all the same. They're all experiencing endless lifetimes and endless alternate realities and endless universes. And the idea of all this, everyone's sharing all this, is like one great big huge soup, one big huge ocean, always churning, always mixing, always changing. Now the reason for this is that when you're an eternal being and you live forever and ever, the idea of heaven and God is that you want to keep things always changing. You want to keep that excitement, vibrance in creation. So the idea of everything connected and shared, they're all expanding, because everything is connected and shared, the idea of heaven. But it's all expanding is when we're experiencing and sharing our experiences, is this forever churning, like waves in an ocean. It's endless, it never ends, it always keeps waving, always keeps going. And this is really the higher expressions of ourselves. Now, when I really look at the highest expression of myself, what I basically see is this great big, endless, eternal being. And it's like a little child. All it just wants to do is just always experience, because it knows that it is endless and has never had a beginning. All my life I always tried to explain what it's like to have no beginning. I always tried to explain this to people because I always could understand this. I always knew I never had a beginning. So this is kind of also the understanding extraterrestrials have, and understanding how big their consciousness is, because they totally understand everything I'm explaining. In my life before I came here, I always remembered my life. Every day I wake up, I always remembered this. This is with, no hypnosis, no nothing. I always remembered being with a council of Arcturians, and they wanted me to come here to help, wake everybody up out of this dense reality, out of this. So this is how they understand things. But when I see the highest expression of myself, what I see is this big eternal being, endless, little child, but that it's always, the best way to maybe describe this is there was one issue on one television program called Star Trek, and on there was one thing they talked about the character Q. I'm sure if any of you watched that, you know the character Q. And he just flash in and out in a universe, create anything that he wanted. Well, we do this all the time anyways. We just, I admit videos about manifestation. You watch the movie The Secret on the internet. It teaches you how to manifest your reality. It's how you keep focused at it, and the intensity, the passion, and feeling keeps creating the reality. But there's one episode where they talked about the Qs and how they're kind of bored and stuff, and we see them as old women, men, or sitting on a porch in a rocking chair, etc. But they're really just endless beings, and they're conscious of each other and sharing these things, and they're always just wanting to have these experiences. So the idea of explaining the Q continuum, it's probably, I know, the only thing I've ever seen that, you know, on television or reading that could maybe explain this to you, other than, you know, I understand all of this, and, you know, but all this, if you go through hypnosis or deep meditation, you'll find out these same things. So I'm just trying to explain who and what we really all are, and the idea of how big creation really is, and the idea of what it is to be an eternal being. So you know, Earth here was a dense game. It's created because we're cut off from all the connected and sharedness of everything, and it's ruled by fear and negativity. And people have the idea of control, power over others. Some people want to play the victim. Everyone plays these different roles. It's just part of whatever you have forever to experience, whatever it is. You know, your life experience is going around hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years. Humans still have a long ways to go yet to complete the human game. But when we finally go through the whole thing, when we finally go through the whole thing, we'll find out that, you know, the density and the fear, because we're cut off from the shared connectedness of everything, this knowledge of everything. This is what I have other videos explaining, extraterrestrials in the crop circles, all explaining about expanding our consciousness to higher dimensional levels, explaining about dimensions and other universes, how to be telepathic, many other things. But I'm just trying to understand about the highest expression of ourselves. I can make many videos about many different things, but sometimes I see not just this universe, many endless universes and many other aspects of creation, far beyond anything you could ever imagine. But when I connect to these higher expressions of myself, which it's all inside of you guys as well, it's just there. Just when you say, "Hey, yeah, right," and it is, and you just start to connect to it. Because it's just there, because it's a part of me, a part of you, a part of everybody, a part of everything. And you'll find that you'll start to begin to understand this idea. Except for people who probably aren't even watching this video, or people who are like 3D fear game. They're going to stay stuck in it, in the power, manipulation, control, you know, blow things up, kill people, negativity, fear, hate tends to be the biggest thing that you can really, as everyone is shifting to these higher conscious levels, you can really see these people who either they want to be a victim, a controller, or a hater, but somehow it's something has to do with fear. But however, that's not how creation really is, because let's explain maybe one last thing here. The idea of heaven and God, and say the devil and hell. Well, there is no devil, but the density here creates this idea that there is. So the idea of a devil is very real to people in a reality like Earth. There is no devil fighting hell, because it's like, hey, I could be joined them. I can be part of the sharedness of everything, you know, because you get bored of being the devil after a while, okay? So, and the whole idea is, and you can say, oh, well, I don't believe you. Well, hey, the proof is this. How did the universe get here? How did the Earth get here, right? We see universes, other planets, other galaxies, it seems endless. Well, this is only one universe. It's so vast, and, you know, when you get to be 8-dimensional, it doesn't seem near vast anymore. The galaxy would seem like about the size of planet Earth. But that's when you have a higher conscious level expanded out. That's how you understand things then, okay? And but the idea of if there was a devil fighting God, they'd be fighting each other for all of eternity. And how would anyone have time to create a universe, alone all the galaxies and other universes and everything else? Because everything is shared. So I'm trying to help you understand these higher understandings of the idea of heaven and you know, eternity, and you know, who and what we really all are. So I have many other videos, so many aspects of different things to explain. So thank you for watching my videos.